for especially inviting me to this session. I am really grateful that I am associated with this. I am really thankful to the Central AHA and the State AHA, and that is the budding AHA of our state. And for that, I really thanks the Dr. Atanu Bhadra, Dr. Chatterjee, under the guidance of our chairperson of AHA, that is Dr. Sukanta Chatterjee and Dr. Arun Sharma sir. I really thankful to all the delegates, the learned faculties and delegates who are here today. And the topic is very much important because, the previously also before COVID era, pre-COVID era, we were using the medias, but not in that rampant way. Rather, I think like Zoom platforms, and although personally, I'm using Zoom platform for the last 8 years from the from the HIV purpose and the iTech health in India. But after COVID, it is quite common and everyone using the Zoom platform. But this digital media excessive use, even especially after the COVID, became one of the important essential thing for our life. So, and that is misused by the adolescents and all. So today we'll be learning lots of things. What are the time limit? What are the guidance? What is the guideline by the Indian Academy of Pediatrics? What is the guideline of UNICEF? There are some variations in the guidelines if you go through the UNICEF and WHO and IP, but more or less the same. So we'll be learning today. This webinar will be very useful to us, for all of us, and giving me the opportunity. I must thank all the organizers, and thanks to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalpana. So this must be your third meeting today on the Zoom platform, just from the neurology chapter. So I think, as Dr. Sharma has said, we all need some modus of how to control our own screen time. So I would request Professor Kripasindhu Chatterjee, the Secretary General of this budding branch of West Bengal, to say the last words before I hand over to Shilpi.
Thank you, Atanu. And on behalf of West Bengal State Branch, I really welcome all the national and central key office bearers present here, and all the learned audience and faculties present here. It's a really amazing experience, and I am grateful to Shilpi for organizing such a program for our state. One thing because we have got these learned faculties who would be speaking and would be listening and gathering our knowledge and accumulating knowledge, at least for myself. I just want to point out one thing: this media addiction, and this is a really burning problem as of now. But what we have seen is that I have interacted to many people. So teachers are saying that the students are losing their ability to calculate mathematics, and more so after the COVID, because of this mobile phone and these things. And probably this is a burning topic, and I think we should give more stress upon the awareness of the parents, because the parents, they are giving the mobile phone to their young kids for feeding and other compliances, and that is putting them into the addiction and this making the mobile phone known to them each other. So parental awareness is probably very important, and I would request our key office bearers to think on this, whether we can make any webinar or any module or anything to bring parental awareness on media addiction, so that we can reduce media addiction in the adolescents. Thank you. And thank you once again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So I will welcome all the delegates on the screen from different parts of India. I would just recognize the presence of Dr. Renu Goralkar, our executive committee member of the Central IIP from Maharashtra. Thank you, Renu, for joining. And I would just hand over the mic to the platform to Dr. Shilpi to start the scientific sessions on a time schedule. Right.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank all the guests who have taken their time and they are present for our inaugural session. Since we shall be listening to our esteemed faculties during their talk, so I would like to welcome our esteemed faculties, Dr. Sukanta Chatterjee sir, Dr. Preeti Galagali ma'am, Dr. Shamik Ghosh sir, Dr. Jaydeep sir, Jaydeep Chaudhury sir, Dr. Srabani Chakraborty ma'am, who are all our national faculties. So without wasting much time, I would like to welcome welcome you all and welcome Professor Sukanta Chatterjee sir, whom we all know. His name is enough to his session on effect of media on adolescents. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Shilpi. What is my time? It's 10 minutes or 15 minutes?
Sir,
I think
now
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
we will take questions later at the last. Ma'am, sir, as you like.
No, as you like. You this
But
total.
we have kept 15 minutes actually, 8:40 to 8:55. We have kept for your talk.
Okay, let me share this screen first. Well, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Well, when we talk about social media, first of all, let me define, as we always start that from student life, that anything you want to say, first of all, you define. So social media is any web or mobile-based platform that enables an individual or agency to communicate interactively and exchange user-generated content. Well, it could be many platforms like, say, Facebook, WhatsApp, or say Twitter, and many other that even I may not know, and every day some new thing are coming. But these are all social media, and teens, not only teens, but all of us are more and more inclined to social media for communications. So in coming 10 minutes, I'll take you through the benefits and risk of social media on the teens. And I will rather take some studies how these positive and negative effects of social media really was evidenced in medicine. The study that I'll first report is Pew Research Center study, where they studied 750 adolescents between 13 to 17 years, where 45% are online almost constantly and use social media platforms such as Facebook and others. So this is something which the teens are using, and the impact of social media on teens that we'll be discussing now. First of all, before I started the program, I was listening what most of the colleagues and my friends are talking about the use of social media by teens. Should they use it or not at all? Yes or no? If you ask me, my answer will be yes, they should. I do not like a mother not allowing her teen son or daughter not having a cell phone, which his or her friends are having. So he will definitely feel subdued and mentally depressed, and his personality will not be expressed. He will rather feel less connected and less updated. And whenever I say yes, then the risk and benefits should be always considered. As we always say that opportunity always accompanies this. So whenever there is an opportunity, risk accompanies. Unless we take care of the risk, the adolescents are exposed to it. So the parents should be aware what are the risks and how we can protect the risk. That is more important than snatching the cell phone that you are spending a lot of time and you are not allowed from now onwards to use the cell phone. That's not the solution, and that will rather create further problem. Now, let us talk few words about social media benefits all of us agree that social media has got many benefits. First of all, it creates an online identity. Means you are a doctor, that's an identity. You are an officer, so that's an identity. So you are identified as such and such in WhatsApp, such and such in email. So that's an identity. Communicate with others and build social network with very short time, which is not possible by physical meeting. And these networks can provide teens valuable supports, especially helping those who are, say, confined at home due to chronic illness or disabilities or others. Teens also use social media for entertainment and self-expression. And the platforms can expose teens to current events, allow them to interact across geographical barriers, and teach them about a variety of subjects, including healthy behaviors. As a matter of fact, the whole world of knowledge is available in social media. Social media that's humorous and distracting, that provides a meaningful connection to peers, and a wide social networking may even help teens to avoid depression. Now, some protective factors that helps adolescents who are exposed to social media. First is cyber literacy or social media literacy. Here, literacy means the adolescent should understand which website or which media or which particular content is prepared for what intention. What is the intention of the producer? Are they trying to make me a client, or are they trying to make addicted to it, or are they trying to make some frauds with me? So this sort of media literacy is very important, and the parents can talk with them that most of the private medias are intended with some commercial intention or some other harmful or risk intentions. So those medias which are created by government, universities, or international health agencies or others, they are more reliable. So this is media literacy that could be discussed. But at the same time, when you are talking to early teens who are less, I should say, judge their conditions, or they can understand reasoning less, but go by more emotions or impulse. There, the media literacy may not work always. So an adolescent who is, say, 17 or 18 years of age might do better with the discussion with the parents on media literacy than an adolescent who is, say, 11 or 12. So that also needs to be remembered. Strong connection with the family that always protects the adolescent from getting into risky areas for prolonged duration. Positive offline peer influence of friends. They can discuss with the friends. You see, I have seen this or that. What do you think about it? They can discuss it and can explore the risk and negative aspects of this. Good self-esteem is very healthy for protective aspects in media use or internet use. Now, strong offline interest or hobbies like sports and activities that really not only takes away time from the internet or social media use, but also creates some feelings towards that, and some sort of positive mental health is created that does not pull into or corner into the risky corner of the social media. Even the help-seeking behavior of the adolescent might also help. Now, these are different benefits. I am not going to do in every point in detail. Like, say, I can remember that even booking a train ticket in, say, online platform is a benefit, definitely. There are many other benefits, but the one benefit that I should mention here, it can reduce biases also. You can read different views from different persons, different websites, different corners. So it will reduce bias if you listen one person or read one website. Now, this is some Indian statistics where it is shown that 70% of youths are spending at least 5 hours in a week on internet. And this is another very interesting finding that 36% internet users belong to the age group of 17 and 19 in the rural area, while the same age group in the urban area is using 25%. This might seem in contrast, but it may have many other reasons, because the internet and the cell phone may be something new, and what I should say, there are less other distractors or good opportunities in the village, which the urban adolescents have. They can go to mall and many other places. That's why that may be reason, but the reason is not expressed, but this is a statistics. Now, there are many harms the social media can do that we are talking constantly. It can distract them, disrupt their sleeps, and exposing them to bullying, rumor spreading, unrealistic views about other people, and peer pressure. Now, I'll just mention two studies abroad. 6,500 adolescents between 12 to 15 years are studied who spent more than 3 hours a day in social media had higher risk of mental health problems. Similarly, 12,000 adolescents are studied between 13 to 16 years who use social media more than 3 times per day, not duration, but 3 times intermittently, also predicted poor health mental status. Now, other studies also observed same thing, that it increases depression and anxiety. And particularly those adolescents who use the social media at night time, who are more emotionally involved in the social media, like say getting frustrated when they are not able to log in a particular desired site or all that, these adolescents are more likely to have mental health risk and other problems. Now, the cell phone and other social media can lead to depressive symptoms. There are many other studies that is mentioned here. But one thing I must mention, that those who use social media to interact with others and post their own contents didn't express the decline of satisfaction in comparison to those who see passively. Means they have not posted it, they are not seeing their own posting, but are seeing posting of others. So they suffer from some sort of less satisfaction or dissatisfaction because they are not able to do it. So these are different ways of harms that we can have in the adolescents. More time the students spend going out with their friends, less they felt inferior to others. This is another study that is mentioned that undergraduate students in college, when they spend longer time in Facebook, they feel that they are rather less happier than others, because they find that in Facebook, many people are doing so much things and such things, which I am not able to do that. This is the same slide I have already explained. Youths are nearly 2 times more networked than global population as a whole. Means adolescent and young people are having, say, 2/3 of the social media use than the population, total population. So 97 million Facebook users in India belong to 18 to 24 age group. This is another very important statistics, only focused on Facebook. 60% of 500 million internet users in India are in adolescent and young age group. That is youth age group. That is also important. This is an important slide I want to speak on. Since the teens are impulsive in nature, experts suggest that the teens who post contents on social media are at risk of sharing intimate photos or highly personal stories. This can result in teens being bullied, harassed, or even blackmailed. They do not understand the consequence of what they have posted. That's why they do it due to impulsive nature. That is important for the parents to remember. The early teenagers should be rather watched, cautioned. So these are concerns about the safety. There are a lot of concerns about safety when they are exposed to internet. These are concerns related to excessive use. I'm not going to detail. These are few, say, terms that we are very familiar with. We should all talk with the adolescents the different terms when we are talking about media literacy and all that. These things all adolescents should know when they are exposed to social media. Now, impact of excessive use of social media, it could be impact on relations, the social relations most important. So they get less time and less interest in relation development and maintenance of relation. Psychological and social impact is also there: withdrawn, mood swing, lack of self-esteem, and drop in grades in schools. Impact on physical health: decrease in physical activity, excessive weight loss or even weight gain, body aches, backache, and other physical problems, particularly insomnia or sleep disturbance that leads to the whole next day less active and less productive. Now, adolescents should also get information about the Information Technology Acts that is prevalent in India now. Otherwise, they might be caught into the legal affairs, and that might lead to further trouble to them. Now, few tips to protect our teens. Particularly, we can talk to the mothers that set reasonable limits. Talk to your adolescent that what internet is, what is the benefit and harm, and how you can regulate your own activities, sleep, meals, and homework. Allow, say, half an hour or 1 hour time in the morning, half an hour, 1 hour in the evening, depending on the academic schedule or other activities. So once that is discussed and accepted, that should be monitored and followed. Encourage a bedtime without any electronic gadget, and set an example by following these rules yourself. That is very important. If this habit is maintained, that also reduces the screen time. Monitor your teens account. This is a very useful but difficult to implement strategy or tips. Let your teens know that you will be regularly checking his or her social media accounts. This is rather entering into the privacy of the adolescents. So if we start it early, in early adolescence, that is more executable and then it continues subsequently. That's better than when you start it doing when the problem is already there and you are entering into the privacy of the 17 or 18-year aged teen. So that will be a problem. Explain what's not okay. Discourage your teen for gossiping, spreading rumors, bullying, and damaging others' reputation, online even or otherwise. Talk to your teen about what is appropriate and safe to share on social media. Particularly, discourage them to post any personal data or say personal profile or pictures or stories. Encourage face-to-face contact with friends. That's always better than social media. Talk about social media, that your own social media habits, you explain how you do it. And then you ask your teen how do they feel in getting exposed to the social media. If they feel it's good, if they feel I cannot resist it, that means it's going to be addicted. So these are different phases that we can identify. Talk about the social media, but remind them that social media is full of unrealistic images. So these are the tips which we must remember, and we should take care while we are having teens in our house or managing a teen in a clinic or whatever we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The last course that I attended under Sukanta sir with all our faculties was the RBHA course, where the media use was extensively explored there. But this talk was such an eye-opener, because sometimes we have confusion whether how to advise the adolescent and the parents regarding media use. Thanks, sir, for your valuable views that adolescents may be allowed to use social media, but with proper training to both the parents and the adolescents. So now I would like to welcome our beloved Preeti Galagali ma'am. She is the consultant adolescent health specialist and pediatrician, director, Bengaluru Adolescent Care and Counseling Center, Rajaji Nagar. And she has multiple publications and achievements, and she is associated with multiple national and international organizations. So, and this topic, that adolescence and media, would not have been complete without her, because she is the IAP, one of the authors of the IAP guidelines on adolescents regarding media use among infants, children, and adolescents. So let us hear from Dr. Preeti Galagali ma'am regarding the guidelines of media on use in adolescents. So I welcome Dr. Preeti Galagali ma'am to kindly take up this session. Am I audible?
Yes, Shilpi, you are. Am I audible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
you are audible
Okay.
and
Yes.
visible. Your screen is visible.
Very beautiful picture, ma'am.
Thank
Jai
you so
Hind.
much. I wish all of you a very happy Independence Day, and I hope that all of you had a wonderful one yesterday. As we take care of almost 1/3 of the Indian population, which comprises of children and adolescents, we realize that the digital space is all prevailing, and for their well-being, digital wellness is imperative. I thank IAP West Bengal, IAP Kolkata, and also Dr. Sukanta, Dr. Sharma, Dr. Shilpi, Dr. Atanu, and the whole team of IAP and AHA for inviting me to revisit the IAP screen time and digital wellness guidelines for adolescent. And I think there is no better time than now to do this. These guidelines were published in Indian Pediatrics in March 2022, and the guidelines for parents, which Dr. Kripa Sindhu was mentioning about, we already have a document which was published in 2021. And I had the good fortune and the privilege to be the national convener for these guidelines. These guidelines were framed under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Piyush Gupta, Dr. Dheeraj Shah, Dr. Nidhi Bhedi, and we had a fantastic team, including Dr. Samir Delvai and Dr. Geeta Patil, the incoming president of AHA. Now, in the next few minutes, I would go through IAP guidelines, mainly the practice pearls. And I hope that my talk today would motivate all of you to go through both these guidelines, that is the parenting guidelines and the guidelines which are published in Indian Pediatrics in detail. So today I will discuss the practice pearls, thread them into the anticipatory guidance that we can give in our own clinics, and we'll share with you a few thoughts about looking ahead and whether these guidelines would need changes in the coming years. Now, coming to screen, we're talking about screen time. So what are the screens that we are talking about? We are talking about not only the mobile screens, but also about any screen, including the television, the iPod, the iPad, also screens of the game consoles. So any time spent on these screens is called screen time. And what is digital well-being? Digital well-being is the conscious use of technology enabling individuals and communities to realize their potential. Adolescent well-being was defined recently in 2020. So if we link it with the digital well-being, it means that in the digital space, the adolescent enjoys good health, optimum nutrition, connectedness, positive values, and contribution to the society is enhanced. the digital space is safe and it offers a supportive environment. Learning, competence, education, skills, and employability are enhanced by the digital use, and also the adolescent develops a healthy digital identity and it helps in building resilience. During the pandemic, we saw that connectedness, education, resilience were all built up by the digital space. Yes, there were some difficulties that we land into, but that is the point of using the digital space for wellness. And what are the 4 constructs which come under digital wellness? One is well-being, and this includes physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Also, being an adequate digital citizen, an appropriate digital citizen who has full knowledge of their rights and responsibility, to follow an apt online etiquette and use the digital space safely. So well-being, citizenship, etiquette, safely. All these are beautifully handled by the IAP guidelines. Yes, in a chaotic digital space where we are bombarded with hundreds of messages every day, to remain calm, composed, and well is indeed a challenge. The IAP guidelines help us to do so. Though we are talking on the adolescent guidelines, but I must mention here that digital rules start much more earlier than that. So if we want the adolescents to follow digital rules, the rules must be in place. And may I say, even when we are thinking of having a baby, because a lot of evidence is now available that even a mother using a mobile phone on the abdomen may have an in utero effect on the baby. So we need digital rules right from that time. Below 2 years, 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years are all there in the guidelines. So before we give a digital device, we must formulate digital rules. How much and how would the media be used? We must have a family media plan in action, and also the parents should decide how do they want to use their media and role model healthy media use. Remember, before giving a device, not after. So as far as adolescents are concerned, we know much of their education now takes online, and much of their even physical activity, even recreation takes online. But we must remember, for adolescents, rather than having a fixed time, we must focus that they have 1 hour of physical activity, at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. They have enough time for interacting with the family physically, with their peers, have enough time to study offline, also participate in their hobbies, which is necessary for their overall development. So after this, whatever the time is left, that could be used for screen time. But again, the other activities are very, very important. So hence these rules have to be there right from the beginning. Also, to ensure self-esteem and to develop a great family bonding, the families to ensure a warm, nurturing, supportive, fun-filled, secure environment. Only if there is this environment, the adolescent will allow the family to monitor their screen use to ensure that the content that they watch is educational, age appropriate, and non-violent. The guidelines further go on to say that the maximum use of the digital media should be for learning and education. And during the pandemic, they also prescribe the number of sessions, each class-wise, and also for how much time. There's also a lot of emphasis on ergonomics to reduce repetitive stress injury, the right kind of posture to be really adopted while seeing either a desktop or a laptop or while using a mobile phone. Also, the guidelines talk about the 20-20 rule to decrease computer vision syndrome, every 20 minutes to take a break for 20 seconds and to look at an object 20 feet away. I'm sharing with these graphics with you so that when you go to the families, when you give anticipatory guidance, this is a nice way of explaining the guidelines to them. And of course, Media multitasking is a strict no-no. With so many gadgets on at the same time, how can really learning take place? Coming to the question of media literacy, it's important to train the adolescent to ask these questions when they see any media message. Now, let us take the example of this particular advertisement. So I am going to answer the questions as an adolescent. Who made this message? Pepsi. What techniques? They had Virat Kohli there, which is a favorite with everybody, in a very animated pose. And they also had cricket behind there, and they would say, oh, if you drink Pepsi, you can not only meet Virat Kohli, but you can play cricket like Virat Kohli. What does this not show? It does not show the empty calories. It does not show the tendency towards obesity. It does not show the calcium leaching from the bones. And why was this message created? Obviously to sell Pepsi. So what happens then? Then the adolescent is very clear why he does not need to be carried away by this particular message. But there is more to the story. Virat Kohli and Pepsi parted ways in 2017 because he said, how can I use and endorse something that I do not use? Virat Kohli being a very popular sporting figure, these kind of messages can play a big role in keeping adolescents away from soft drinks. So this is also what we need to emphasize when we talk to them. The guidelines further go on to talk about the digital footprint, which can never be erased. Hence, before you post anything, think. And think is an acronym. Is it true? Beat the infodemic. Do not forward false messages. Is it hurtful? Am I bullying somebody? Would some religion be hurt by what I am posting? Is it illegal? Am I transmitting pornographic images? Am I sexting? Am I cyberbullying? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And even if you do receive such an offensive message, please do not delete it. Talk to somebody senior in the house, talk to an adult in the house, save it to report either to the cyber police or to the cyber crime cell, which is available at this website. You can even call 1930 to report such a cyber crime. And by the way, this website has excellent booklets which can be used to educate the adolescent on cyber crime and how to stay away from that. So to summarize this in just one slide, if you have to give anticipatory guidance in your own clinic, talk to the parents, talk to the adolescent about responsible digital citizenship and digital hygiene. What will be the points? The first thing we said, balance. Balance is most important between sleep, physical activity, school, study, family time, peer time, family, on hobbies and recreation. Boundaries. We need to protect privacy, not to share our passwords with other people. Be respectful and only see age-appropriate programs, apps, or social media sites. And of course, parents should ensure that, and they should monitor the online activity. Communicate to the adolescent about cyber safety, media literacy, ergonomics. Use the media and use it for conveying family values. For example, values regarding sexuality, values regarding drug use can all be conveyed during a media, especially during the OTT platform programs. Talk to them about not meeting digital friends whom they don't know in person, alone. Also talk to them to be digital leaders. Have digital free zones in the house, like the kitchen, dining table, bedroom, while driving a vehicle, and even in the bathroom. Encourage digital fasting periodically. Ask the family to spend fun-filled media-free times together, and role model judicious media use, mentor and monitor the children under their care. Extremely important for parents. Detect flag signs of digital addiction early. Is the adolescent using the device or the media compulsively? Have they lost control over it? Do they crave for the media, and in spite of consequences like loss of friends, loss of schooling, they continue to use the media, and they get very angry and aggressive when the media is taken away. So these are flag signs of digital addiction. Most of these people use the digital media to cope with stresses in life. And of course, having an updated antivirus software is important, and so is a parental control software, especially for the younger children and for early adolescents. So the IAP screen and digital wellness guidelines further tell the pediatricians to convey anticipatory guidance to screen for not only addiction, but for other mental disorders like depression, ADHD, and also anxiety, which can occur comorbidly with the addiction disorders. Of course, participate in community programs and advocate for and enable a healthy digital environment by partnering with the adolescents, community, media houses, governmental agencies, and regulators. So it's not only about adolescents and parents, it's also about government agencies and regulators too. Of course, the screen guidelines also talk about how schools can ensure healthy media usage. Now, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that is what the future shock is for us. There are digital hotspots, and probably in the near future, we may have a specialty of medicine in digital health, because it is so very difficult to stay updated with what is happening in the digital world, because it is happening so very rapidly. And definitely updated IAP guidelines would be needed soon, with emphasis on social media history taking, understanding social media algorithms, focus on telemedicine, understanding metaverse, artificial intelligence. We will also have to promote longitudinal research studies to study the effect of media on the adolescent neurodevelopment, partnering with media moguls, learn more about cyber safety, cyber laws, and meaningfully engage with youth. For those of you who are interested in artificial intelligence, the World Economic Forum recently released this toolkit, Artificial Intelligence for Children Toolkit. Yes, partnerships, because adolescents are digital natives. We are digital migrants. They are the ones who understand media the best. Hence, it is important to partner with them to advocate for healthy media use. WHO is doing so, UNICEF is doing so, and we are going to have the largest global forum for adolescents online on 11th and 12th October, where adolescents are going to take the lead to make this world a better place and a healthy place. So as a pediatrician, I would ask you to please write and read more about media, because that is how we learn more about it until we have a specialty of digital health coming up. So these are few of my publications in the last few years, which have helped me to learn more about the media. Immediately after this webinar, I think too much of media, you need to take a digital detox. Switch your phone off, sit down, watch your breath. You will see all the missed calls and unread messages the universe has sent you. And tomorrow morning, remember to use media mindfully and advocate mindful media use in clinical practice. Thank you very much for making me a part of this wonderful webinar.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful talk. It has made us we want to think for ourselves how we can balance the mindfulness and the media. Thanks to your talk. And now we would like to proceed to our case discussion. So that is, I would like to share the screen. Sir, Dr. Sharma sir, actually it is showing that.
Who will share screen? Dr. Shilpi, you will share?
I'm trying again, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I'll share the screen.
Okay. Please share.
So today we have a case discussion on the topic looking beyond media addiction. So our chairpersons, I would again like to invite Professor Sukanta Chatterjee sir and Dr. Preeti Galagali ma'am. And as our faculty, we have with us Dr. Shamik Ghosh sir, who is a consultant pediatrician and with special interest in adolescent medicine and Pediatrics, and Dr. Jaydeep Chaudhury, Professor Jaydeep Chaudhury sir, who is the Professor of Institute of Child Health, Kolkata. And we are also having with us Dr. Srabani Chakraborty ma'am, who is a consultant pediatrician. She is also interested in adolescents and development pediatrics. So with permission of our chairpersons, I would like to start sharing the case. So
Please make it full screen. Shilpi,
Yes,
please make it full screen.
actually the same, I'm having the same problem as the last time. In my screen, actually, it's, I have to take help of some.
now you make full screen.
I have made it to full screen. Actually, it's, like on the screen slide sharing kind of a thing. But in my screen, it is showing full screen.
Full screen. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Please go ahead. We can see it.
I'm changing the slides. Is the slide getting changed in the platform? Like
No, Shilpi, it's not showing. Okay.
okay.
No, the slides are changing.
So I'll change in this way only. It's
Yes.
is it the
Yeah,
second,
yeah.
second slide? Okay.
You click
So,
on the left side of the slide so that it will come on the main screen.
Sometimes it happens, no? Okay, continue.
So I'm continuing with this. I'll have to take help from someone before I present the next one. So this is the story of Shreya, who is a 15-year-old girl. She was brought to the OPD outdoor with complaints of headache. She had headache off and on, and she had been to multiple doctors previously, but her headache was persisting. For the last 1 month, she had been irregular to school. She spends whole day on mobile watching YouTube reels. The second time she came, she was having shortness of breath and severe chest pain. That's why she required admission into the ward. All pathological causes of headache was ruled out. It was found that just after waking up, she checks her mobile for Facebook status. Recently, she started chatting with an unknown person over Facebook Messenger, and they had sent messages to which she had replied. This was noticed by her elder sister. Upon getting reported to the parents, she was told to reduce mobile use and study. Then she developed this shortness of breath and chest pain and had to be admitted. As already discussed previously, that this time also most of the reports came normal, and it was diagnosed with the help of the different questionnaires that it was an panic attack, and she also had an attention-seeking behavior. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Srabani Chakraborty ma'am to guide us regarding how we can approach this case.
Thank you. Thank you, Shilpi. And good evening to all dignitaries and Dr. Sukanta sir, Sharma sir, and Preeti ma'am, and all delegates, and Jaydeep sir, and Shamik da. So, to this case, I would like to approach by heads and psychosocial history I want to take. So, HEEADSS. So, H means home. So, I am talking. So, it's home further stays away from home due to job most of the days. And she has two elder siblings, has quarreled with brother, especially as he advised her to restrict use of mobile and to concentrate on study. No friends at present other than her elder sister and mother, who are worried about the present situation and pampered by parents and sister, younger girl, youngest daughter in the family. And her education is irregularly started especially after COVID, when she had endless access to mobile. So it's really a problem. So online classes were going on that time, and he was attending online class, and as well as different website, and freely a mobile phone given to her, and she has used very freely, probably most of the time. And recent change in school took place, and as she had not passed in class 8, her parents did not want her to repeat the class, hence changed the school. And he had been an average student before COVID, irregularly attending school for last 1 month, as Dr. Shilpi said. And specifically, her home teacher said this regarding her, that she is actually not at par at to study at the level of 8 standard. Her educational quality much below than that. And probably her sister said that sister has used to answer her question during online examination. So her activity this time is no exercise, not even going out of the home. Recently this problem started, wakes up very late, and onset of sleep is late night, uses mobile as a coping strategy. So usually we got this type of child regularly in our daily practice, and speaks less now, and eats a lots. Regularly she is telling, I'm hungry, I want to take food, and her mother is making food for her. Diagnostic tools we have used PHQ-9, which showed mild depression, and scared child, which shows panic disorder. That is, school avoidance was there, social anxiety was there, and GAD was there, general anxiety disorder. And we have used internet addiction test, which has shown moderate dependence. And so we should know how to identify internet addiction. So in this case, so exhibited a preoccupation with the internet even when not using it. This girl having this type of problem, and use internet more and more frequently to achieve satisfaction and increase tolerance. And and repeatedly she is failing to control herself, feeling moody, irritable, and low and restless when she is off the offline, and risk of and also loses sleep, exercise, experience fatigue, and feel apathetic, and also they lose employment, romantic relationship, friendship, all these things. So use of and the lie to family member, as in this case. Red flag signs are change in behavior, craving, and compulsion to use media, and always compulsion, cannot resist, and more tolerance to media, as ma'am said, Preeti ma'am said, and lying and hiding online gaming and internet use, and disobedience, and to time limit. All the time, elder brother, elder sister, parents telling, but there is disobedience, and there is lying, diminished interest in other activity, playing and studying, eating, all these things. But she is eating more. Social withdrawal from friends and from family members, and psychological withdrawal when offline, using game as psychological escape for her depression, I think so, and continuing to game online repeatedly despite negative consequences, engaging in illegal activities like bullying, gambling, and trafficking. This is also red flag signs, but not in this case. Okay, Shilpi, carry on. I'll continue, or you will ask a question to
So I would now thank you, ma'am, for your assessment. So now I would like to request Dr. Shamik Ghosh sir to give us some opinion, his valuable opinion regarding, is there anything else that we need to look into in this child that is beyond the internet addiction?
Very good evening to all our esteemed faculty. Thank you, Shilpi, for this wonderful organization. And obviously, Srabani has very nicely elucidated the head's history. So there are factors in the home environment. There is a disturbance in the family dynamics, and there are issues with the individual also. So there is a combination of environmental factors, and there is also what you say issues within the individual, which show that she is not being able to motivate herself to get proper peer company. She's not being able to motivate herself to get into proper physical activity outside of studies. She's also not able to focus on her studies. So the underlying problems could be numerous. This girl needs a proper assessment, and we need to focus and see where the genesis of this problem lies. It could be within the family dynamics. It could be within the fact that she hasn't got adequate peer company. And being a school girl, we mustn't forget that a very common problem that we all face is that what remains hidden deep down beneath is a loss of self-esteem due to school bullying. So that is something we really need to explore and find out as to why this child is having such low self-esteem. So there are issues here, and we need to delve a little deeper. Thank you, Shilpi.
Thank you so much, sir. So thank you for highlighting the different aspects that leads to different their depreciation of the self-esteem, like bullying, and also we would also like to discuss about the learning, whether we have to explore whether there is any learning disabilities there. Post-COVID, we have found that there had been a learning loss also. So it could be a case of a learning loss where due to the online education and improper evaluation, there was maybe that the child could not cope up with the next higher education level for the loss of 2 years of due to the online learning. So, and there were more issues like we can, in the differentials, we can consider intellectual disability. We have to do a psychometric testing for that. That we have to explore more into her, like pre-COVID, her, how she was, whether she had any attention deficit or any other reading or any specific learning disorders. So, and again, now we would like to invite Dr. Jaydeep Chaudhury, Professor Jaydeep Chaudhury, sir, to guide us regarding how we can manage this child, how we can manage this child at this point of time.
Thank you, Shilpi. Good evening, everybody, and it's pleasure to be in this platform. Now, in child, what I feel that we need to approach in two different strata. One is the screen time and handling of the social media, and one is the precipitating factor or the associated psychological and behavioral issues that maybe this child may be having. Now, internet addiction we use sometimes very casually. Addiction as a term is a person's progressive exclusion of other activities, which may cause physical, mental, social harm, while the person attempts to control the dysphoric feelings. So certain threshold of psychological behavior has to be crossed to label it as an addiction. And internet addiction is a very new entity. It's a type of behavioral addiction, so to say. Now, in this child, there are two aspects. One is the internet addiction, which may be just a casual thing that the child is getting exposed to so many a variety of informations through the internet that the child is getting addicted to it. And the second is underlying factors that might have triggered or exacerbated the condition, like what you told, Dr. Shilpi, is there may be learning disability. The child was not coping properly to what has happened due to the lockdown of 2 years. So definitely this child needs some psychiatric assessment. This is looking beyond the internet addiction as a superficial entity. So this child definitely needs some assessment, both to check for learning disability, psychometric testing, and then also some psychiatric assessment whether this child is having other comorbid conditions like depression, anxiety, or other psychiatric factors that might have exacerbated this casual internet viewing. Now, if we want to approach it as holistically, definitely the psychiatric aspect should be dealt by psychiatrists. Like if the child needs some medicines for depression or for anxiety, that has to be assessed. But on the other hand, the lifestyle change that is required is not limited to the child alone. It has to be holistic. What is important that the total interaction between the school education, the family environment, and the child's inherent behavior has to be addressed. The schools are becoming more dependent on the WhatsApp groups, the social media to convey the information. That's easy to do. That's in the name of more, paperless activities. But again, this is snowballing to the effect that the children are also moving towards the internet and towards the screen, going away from the books. Again, when we try to what should I say, level a child as internet addict, as there was some very interesting point raised by Dr. Preeti about the guidelines. But whatever guidelines we have are all arbitrary. I am not sure whether there are very concrete proof that this much media exposure leads to addiction or this much media exposure is harmful to a child. So this is a bit arbitrary. Say, I'll just give you an example. If an adolescent watches a one-day international sitting with his father in the drawing room, and one-day international lasts for about 7 to 8 hours, is it excess screen time? Or if an adolescent girl reads the Kindle, a very good storybook in a Kindle for 4 hours, is it an excessive screen time? So it's a gray area. But what matters is that whether the child is compromising other activities. So that's the main, and that is what has happened to this child. She has compromised other activities. So what I feel that on a larger perspective, the schools, the teachers, they should be motivated to move away from internet. All the information need not be passed in WhatsApp groups. All the lessons and homeworks and the notices need not be given in the WhatsApp groups. That this gives a wrong message to the child that we are dependent on this social media. So there has to be a boundary, benchmark that above this it should not be used. Second is that comes, that's including this child, that the involvement of the family. Yes, the sibling is aware of the situation. The sibling is trying to dissuade this adolescent from using media, but it has to be the whole family The mother cannot sit with a mobile and instruct the daughter that you should not use a mobile. So again, the same thing comes, that we have to accept at one point of time that internet, social media, screen time is inherent part of our living, and that we cannot do without. But how to set the standard? It's the involvement of the family. The father searches the net in the pretext of doing some official work or checking the news updates and etc. The mother checks on the Facebook continuously. So this motivation has to be there, that there should be some time earmarked, that when the whole family will not be using the internet and should be sitting at the time of say having food together, one should not switch on the television. Internet and mobile should not be used as a pacifier right from the beginning. Otherwise, the child will get that all the inputs are coming from the internet only. So going to the same point that has been stressed again and again in this forum today, this child definitely needs some scientific, psychological assessment, some management of the psychological aspect, and even some counseling sessions. But that cannot be organized without the active involvement of the family, and the whole family should be motivated and balancing the act. Otherwise, it will not be possible to come from this situation.
What, sir? Dr. Shobhita, can you kindly mute yourself? Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the importance of family time and being, as already previously Preeti ma'am has also told about the being the role model. The parents are also being the role model. And sir, important point was that was highlighted, that the importance of reading books instead of giving WhatsApp messages. If this can be made more physical, then children might be getting more proper guidances. So with that, I would like to also highlight the fact
Shilpi,
that
I want to add two or three points. Okay. Hello,
yes, ma'am.
Dr.
Please, ma'am.
Shilpi, can
Yes, ma'am.
I add?
Yes, ma'am. Please go on.
Yes. Okay, so this problem we are facing post-COVID regularly. In my clinic, I'm getting children. Today also I got that they are not at par with what is going on in the school presently. So maybe specific learning disability, may not be specific learning disability, may not be intellectual disability. Just for online classes and online evaluation process that we had faced during the COVID time, and throughout the world many researches are going on presently, specifically lower socioeconomic groups or lower social groups, village groups all over world, more and more from the villagers also, and they have lost a level. They were in class 4 or 5 and they were promoted to class 7, and their mathematics standard, their language standard or their knowledge standard is not at par with their present level, what being taught in the class. So I got one child, economically is strong but socially not strong. Specifically depends on mother's education, and as Dr. Jaydeep Chaudhury told us, that ma is with the mobile phone and in Facebook, like that mother is on Facebook, and if father is working from home, and all are scolding the child that don't use mobile phone, and only one room, and that child could not follow the mathematics class. So he has told me that, ma'am, I cannot understand the mathematics from that online process. It was very difficult for me. So, and also the coaching classes was online that time. So I got another child, cannot just add, cannot subtract now in class 6 or 7 standard. So cannot do the mathematics in that level, and just catching the teacher's marks and putting a number, because he will be scolded by parents and also the tuition teacher. So this is a very common thing we are facing post COVID. So we have to be cautious enough, and together, as Dr. Jaydeep Chaudhury told, that as we and our parents, home teacher and school should make a team, and where the help to be taken for the psychiatrist, as Dr. Jaydeep Chaudhury mentioned, and also special educator, and from psychologist, a team should be there to make a individualized education program for that child, and specifically that happen for the vulnerable group, that with ADHD, with ADD, with anxiety disorder. So we have to be individualized for that particular child, and what to be done for the best of that. Otherwise, he or she will just try to escape from this pressure, from this stress of education, and he or she will be roaming in the digital world. So we should make a plan. We should handle the situation in that way, what that particular child the particular child is need. So we have started doing like that, encourage writing, and we also have to take care about the spelling. If she has a spelling problem, and specific learning disability is a bigger issue, I will not go into details in this platform. So encourage a physical meeting with the friends, that will help that child, and storybook reading, meeting with the relatives, and advice keeping in mind their maturity. And we also do the IQ test and SLD test, and what the child love, that child should allow to do, maybe singing, maybe drawing, maybe dancing, whatever she like, she should be encouraged to do that. Along with that, we should go with the with our school education, as far as we can help that child according the child's need. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am, for putting the pieces of puzzles into place so that the puzzle is complete. So before completing this, after we would also like to take after we have taken the help of the psychiatrist, it is our duty also to follow up the child so that they take the psychiatric medicines also, just to ensure that if the depression and anxiety does not become does not increase, so that they can take the education and they can handle this pressure of education as per their standards. So before I end this session, I would like to invite our chairperson, Dr. Preeti Galagali ma'am, to sum up this case and give her valuable opinion.
Shilpi, I think you've already summed up the case beautifully. I just have 2 points, quick 2 points to say. One is, remember, she was talking to a stranger, so I think that is extremely important to go into details, because online safety, she had a panic attack, So is she having some sexting going on there, or is it online sexual solicitation? All that we need to go. Is she being cyberbullied? We all need to go into that. The second thing is, she's watching a lot of YouTube. I've seen many adolescents watching a lot of horror shows and getting panic attack. So we really need to again go into the history. What is she really watching on YouTube? What kind of stuff is she watching? So I think these are the 2 extra points which came up with your discussion. So thank you very much. It has been a wonderful case discussion.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. And ma'am, also we just one point, we should make a routine for the child, and that child should follow that routine strictly. No, it should be mentioned that to be with study and some, relaxation time, maybe meditation, maybe playing outside game, and all these things to be together in her daily routine, ma'am. So that the child can be relaxed other than from this media platform, isn't it, ma'am?
Yes, I totally agree with you, Shrabani.
Thank you so much, Srabani ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Professor Jaydeep Chaudhury sir, and thanks to all the faculties for being with us and all the delegates. I would like to welcome all the delegates to share their opinion also, and also their questions if anyone has. So,
Can I say something?
Yes, sir, please.
I
Yes, sir,
would
sure,
like
sir.
to request Dr. Preeti Galagali to prepare a pamphlets for media literacy for adolescents and for parents, as you have previously made in your tenure regarding the adolescents' suicidal tendency. I have circulated that pamphlets in many schools and really appreciated by all. So going for that, so I would like to please prepare only one page for parents and one page for, and we can post this on our website. Just request.
Right, sir. So the IAP parenting guidelines on screen time are quite good and very elaborate also. So I would suggest that, we circulate that, but media literacy is not touched on it too much. That would need a separate kind of a handout. Thank you, sir. I do that. I think somebody put, somebody put a question on, are you allowed to do a video call with grandparents? So the guidelines do mention that it is, though we recommend less than 2 years, no media use, but occasional, interaction with grandparents who are living far away is okay. It's okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Below 2 years, in fact, smaller kids, if they stay away from, grandparents and all the family members, so we allow video chat with that, but that too 1 or 2 times a week, not more than that, supervised by parents, ma'am.
And then there's an interesting question on how do you really monitor? We talk about a lot of monitoring, right? How can you really, when the adolescent is not even willing to make you have a look at the phone? So it is actually a challenge. But again, I said, if you have rules initially, it would be good. But even the rules, they may follow rules for some time and then they might change their mind. So see, as long as you have told them, it's like driving a car. And before you give them the car, you tell them what are the rules of driving. So as long as you told them the rules, I think you should keep the faith on and they would come to you. And the second thing, very important to ask them this question, how do you feel after using the media? I think this is an extremely important question. I felt terrible. I felt I didn't have those things. Or I feel I should have that body, which I don't have. I feel I should stop eating. So all these things will tell us what was the effect of media. So this is one way of monitoring, keeping the communication on. I think that is how you need to monitor.
Ma'am, also parents should look, they should be wise parents. Actually, these we are, just our next generation too much tech savvy, but in our generation, parents are not too much tech savvy. They actually don't understand, and they depend upon their children, for using this media, YouTube and all. So, but they should be vigilant enough to see. Okay, that I tell my parents that please just look what she or he is doing inside. Try to look. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
To start it early, that is important. If you start it early, then the adolescents will obey. If you start it at 17, 18
yes,
years,
yes.
then it's difficult.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So I would now request, thank you, sir, and I would like to request Srabani Chakraborty ma'am to kindly just host the valedictory session.
So, ma'am is there. Good evening, everybody. I am very thankful to Shilpi, very working so hard, and sometimes I cannot keep pace with her, continuously telling that I want to do this thing, I want to do this thing. This time we talk together and call Preeti ma'am you for your expert opinion, and also Sukanta sir is guiding us. Thank you, Sukanta sir, for guiding us every time we want your help. Thank you, Dr. Atanu Bhadro, for staying with us and helping us continuously. Thank you, Jaydeep Chaudhury, for coming in this forum, because you are too busy now. We are expecting you to see as president. Thank you, Sharma sir, for giving us this platform and continuously guiding us. Thanks, Preeti ma'am. Thanks. After I think many months I have seen you and heard your talk. Always gives me positive energy whenever I come in front of you, whether it is digitally or physically. It is very much fruitful to me, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And thanks a lot, Shamik Ghosh. He is not with us just now because he has another commitment, I think, in radio for this ragging and very sad incident in Kolkata few days back, and I think he is talking on that issue, so he is not just left us this moment. And thanks all our participants for being with us for this 1 hour. It's a beautiful experience to be with all of you. And I was little bit late. I'm sorry, because 8:30 is for us, it's a too much rush time for clinic, so I'm sorry again for joining late. Thank you and good night, and hope we'll be meeting very soon. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Sharma
Good
sir,
night.
thank you. Shukanta
Good
sir,
night to all
thank
of
you.
you.
Thank you. Atanu
Bye-bye.
Badla, Kipa
Good
Shindu.
night, all of
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.